La- Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we are so happy you're here tonight to have with us a brilliant director of her first feature, if I'm not mistaken, Starling Girl, which is a film debuting at South by Southwest, Laurel Parmet. Hello, Laurel.
Hi, how are you doing?
I am amazing. Your movie, it's pretty damn good. Nice job there with
Thank
that.
you.
This centers around Jem, who's a 17-year-old girl living in like a fundamentalist Christian community, very
hmm
similar to the ones you'd find back west where I'm from, uh, where everybody is all together in a similar environment. Can you talk about why you wanted to tell this particular story?
Yeah. So my personal connection to the story is when I was a teenager, I had a similar relationship with an older man. And at the time, really didn't see myself as a victim at all. Had a lot of agency in the relationship and really actively pursued him. And after, the relationship ended, I had had a lot of guilt about it and kind of pushed those feelings away for a while. And then a few years later, I found myself in Oklahoma doing research for a different project, and I came across a group of women who were from a patriarchal fundamentalist church. And, you know, I learned about their beliefs, and, it's probably like an obvious thing to say now, but at the time, I was really struck by just a lot of the similarities actually between how I grew up and how they grew up in terms of not obviously literally, but just in terms of like, what women are taught about to learn about their sexuality and attitudes towards our bodies. And, they believe that it was a woman's responsibility to not lead a man into temptation. And, it's just, there are but like it or not, we are a country that is very much affected by conservative Christian thought. It affects my life day to day. It affects yours too. And so, I think I wanted to make a film that looked at my relationship and what happened to me, and set it in this world that is specific and extreme at times, but is really a reflection of our larger culture. And I spent a really long time researching and interviewing women from these communities and bringing on consultants, and yeah, ultimately made the Starling Girl.
And with this movie, The Starling Girl, you have an incredible cast. You have Eliza Scanlon, who's pretty much great in everything. Lewis Pullman,
Yeah.
uh, son of the legendary Bill Pullman, a
Yeah.
personal favorite of mine, Jimmy Simpson. Can you talk about putting this cast together, what that took, and what sort of efforts you had to go through to get such a wonderful cast together?
Yeah. So I've always loved Eliza. I think she's just a phenomenal talent. And I actually, when I was writing Starling Girl, I saw her in Sharp Objects. And I was like, oh my God, that's like exactly the kind of girl I want in this film. Like, she has such, first of all, just like one of those faces that you can just watch. Like, she could be watching paint dry and you're like, captivated. And I needed someone with Jem who could straddle lightness and darkness. Like, she is a very innocent, naive character, but also like has this ferocity and this like darkness boiling underneath the surface. And Eliza is so good at like navigating those two things. And then, with Lewis for Owen's character, when I met Lewis, I kind of just knew it was important to me that Owen's character not be just like immediately off-putting and threatening and like kind of skeezy. I wanted the audience to kind of fall for him in the way that Jem falls for him and understand why she gets swept up in feelings for him. And Lewis is just such a charismatic, gentle person. And and you're used to seeing him in roles where he kind of plays like the good natured nerd, and you're not used to seeing him in this space, which, so I think that is sort of unexpected for audiences. which I really appreciate. And I needed to make sure that the chemistry was there, and we did as much as we could over Zoom to sort of like see if that would work, and I was confident that it did. And then we spent about a week rehearsing, and just to make sure that we got those dynamics right, and you know um, did as much prep as we could. So on the day we had like a variety of options to play with. And then yeah, Jimmy Simpson was probably like the easiest to cast out of everyone. Like I sent him the script. He's another one, he plays a father who is he's a good dad, but he's really troubled. He's fighting a lot of demons. And I think, Jimmy is someone who you wouldn't really expect in that role necessarily either, which I love. I love being surprised myself with casting choices, as long as it still feels right, which it really does with Jimmy. um and yeah, I sent him the script, and we got on a Zoom, and he was just like, cool, yeah, I just wanted to meet you, like, just to make sure, like, I don't know, I wasn't crazy or something, but he was like, yeah, I want to do it. Which was so great. And he was so wonderful to work with. They all were like so amazing to work with. No divas at all on set. Everyone, like, it just felt like family vibes, and everyone was just there to do the work and was passionate about it. And I feel so lucky that that was what I had for my first feature. There's so many things that you have to worry about on top of actors, making your first feature, making an indie with no money, like, and yeah, so they were really just like a dream.
I love that because you're right. You had all these things going against you, and I love that you mentioned that you like to circumvent expectations because the biggest circumventation that you did here was Austin Abrams playing Ben, because Austin Abrams always
Yeah,
plays these confident, snotty, rich kids and these
I know.
bullies, but here he's just this mild mannered kid, and that to me was like, I was like, that's Austin Abrams. Oh my
Yeah.
god, nice.
Good.
All right.
I love that. Austin is a genius. He is so good and throws himself into every character. He brought so many great ideas to this character. Ben, yes, it's true. He normally like plays like the cool guy, like, because Austin is a cool guy. Like, when like we would get off set and like be hanging out over the weekends, he had like, his like cool jacket and his like pierced ears, and it was so weird. Then like come Monday to come to set, and he was like dorky Ben, and he would stay in character a lot. And I remember the first time Eliza and he met on set to do a scene together, he was like really in character. And I had told Eliza before, I was like, Austin's so nice, you'll really like working with him. But he was like being weirdo Ben, like in character when they met. And so he like wouldn't talk to her, and he was like mumbling to himself in the corner. And like Eliza came up to me and she was like, what's with him? And I was like, I promise, like, he's really cool. And then afterwards, like, like once we had wrapped, like, she got to see that yes, he is the lovely person that Austin is. But yeah, working with him was so great and really fun. And um I think like we in the editing room, those were the scenes that like my editor Sam and I just laughed the hardest at, like working on his scenes.
I love that. One of the things I wanted to ask you, because I thought this was so interesting, your film debuted originally at Sundance, and so you've hit Sundance.
Yeah.
Now you're here at South by. You're
Yeah.
at two of the biggest film festivals in the world with your debut feature. That's got to feel amazing, right?
Pretty damn cool. Yes. Yeah, I mean, truthfully, it's been like a dream for most of my life, probably. Sundance was amazing, and this film was supported. I developed it at Sundance's feature film program, and raised a lot of our money through their program Catalyst. So it's like a Sundance film, and I feel like they're my family, and so it's really really special. It was really special to premiere there. And then South by like is one of my all-time favorite festivals. Two of my shorts premiered there, Spring and Kira Burning, and they were like the first major festival to program my shorts, and was really like, yeah, the first festival. Claudette, the programmer, is incredible and is was the first person to really champion me as a filmmaker and my voice and made me feel good about myself too and like what I was doing and that I was like headed in the right direction, which is important when you're an artist. And yeah, and it was sort of like the launching point of my career. Like I met my producers at South by. I met my manager at South by. Just so much good came from premiering my films there that like it's a very special place to me. Um, so it's really, really meaningful to have a film there and to go back and I'm so excited to eat all of the breakfast tacos every day and just see all my friends and it'll be a good time for sure.
Austin is a lovely city. There's no doubt
Yeah.
about that. I
Yeah.
did want to mention my co-host Shay, who does this website with me. She's probably seen your shorts because if they were at South by Southwest, she usually covers their entire shorts program, so she's probably
Oh,
seen them.
nice. Cool.
So
Oh,
when she
cool.
sees this interview, she'll probably be like, "Yeah, I did see Spring, and it was great." Uh, we have two questions left before I let you go. I
Yeah.
always ask two very personal questions of my guests, and because I think it gets
Okay.
the audience to know them better. The first one is this is your first feature, but you've had like I think 6 or 7 shorts beforehand. Who are some people that you look to in this business as inspirations?
I don't think I have 6 or 7 shorts, but
I don't know. I think there was like four. I think it was like four.
yeah, there are probably a couple that I hope never see the light of day that, are my early days of really figuring out my skills. But yeah, I mean, people that I look up to in navigating the industry. Honestly, I mean, I think anybody who is able to keep a straight head about who they are and the kinds of films that they want to make and not get wrapped up in all of the industry bullshit that is so hard to
Yeah,
to navigate that
yeah.
I'm really just learning how to do. I'm trying to think of like specific people. Um, I mean, God, like Marielle Heller is one of them. Who and I mean we have similar themes in our first features, but she is an incredible filmmaker and time after time like goes is gravitates towards projects that are meaningful to her and from what I don't know her personally, but from everyone that I have met that has worked with her or knows her says also that she's like a super lovely person and um it's really important to me to like I want to make sure to like keep kindness at the center of what I do because I don't know, life's too short, man, and like we should just all like have a good time making films. Like we're not saving lives. Like I never want to take myself that seriously that I'm like a dick. Like I just
Yeah.
want to feel like I'm making films with my friends and having a good time and so yeah, she's definitely someone that I look up to. And God, another one is probably maybe sort of like a wild card, like with the films that I make, but like Ang Lee. He is, I mean, incredible filmmaker, obviously, but like really also like gentle and thoughtful and kind of a reminder to me that like, I don't know, I think when I was a kid and I pictured directors, I just pictured like a loud, boisterous, mean dude and as I direct I'm learning that there are many ways to be a director and it's okay if you can are more introspective and maybe a little bit more gentler and quieter and like you can still be an incredible filmmaker and have something to say and again I don't know Eng personally but just from like things that I've heard interviews with him and people that have worked with him just like I really respect that approach and it makes me feel like I can be a good director and do my style of directing.
Well, if this is any indication, then yeah, you're a good director. I mean, there's some
Thank you.
shots here, like there's that shot where she's riding the bike around like 13 minutes into the film. I was like, wow. Last question before I
I
let
love
you
that
go.
shot too. Yeah,
Isn't
yeah.
it the best? And it's the hard, this is the hardest question. But we're running out of time. If you could only have 2 movies to watch for the rest of your life, which two would you pick and why?
Oh, 2 more movies for the rest of my life.
You can only pick two to watch for the rest of your life.
Okay.
Hardest question of the day every single time.
I think My Summer of Love, by, uh, Pavel Pawlikowski.
Yeah,
That was a huge influence for Starling Girl, actually, visually and character-wise too. I think he's just a phenomenal writer and director, and every time I watch that film, I find something new, that impresses me and makes me like, "Ah, I wanna do that." And the other one is honestly probably Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, another Ang Lee reference. I just that film is, like, epic and sweeping, but intimate and personal and makes me cry every time I watch it, and gorgeously executed, and, I just never get bored of watching it, and I'm always inspired.
I love it. That's some great answers. And
Thank you.
Michelle Yeoh is a queen. Can't wait to see her win that trophy on
She
Sunday.
sure is.
Uh, Thank you so much for joining us, guys. The movie is called The Starling Girl. The director, Laurel Parmet. If you had to tell somebody why they need to watch your movie, as a goodbye, what would you tell them as to why they should check out The Starling Girl when it's available for everybody?
You know, the film is ultimately about trying to figure out who you are in the face of all of the expectations that the world places on us. And I think even though it is set in this really specific world, I think people will be able to see themselves in the story and in the characters and, maybe learn a little bit about yourself in the process. Like maybe some things hit a little too close to home in that. And those are the kinds of films that I like to watch that challenge me and make me a little uncomfortable. So
That's a great answer. Guys, the movie debuts March 12th at South by Southwest. So if you're in the Austin area and you're actually at the festival, make sure you take some time to watch this movie because it is absolutely fantastic. Laura Parman, thank you so much for joining me for Films Not Reviews. This
absolutely.
has been William. Thank you so much for your time, Laurel. I
Yeah,
appreciate you.
thanks, William. All right. Bye.
Bye.